some anti-gunners have very different reasons for being anti-gun. Some of it is political, some of it is money-driven, some of it is just clout chasing. But for the most part, the vast majority of people who are anti-gun are really honestly just scared of guns. And I've always said that the best way to convert someone from being an anti-gunner to a pro-gunner is to turn them into a gun owner. And the best way you turn somebody into a gun owner is to take them shooting. Now, taking them shooting can do the job, except if you do the job incorrectly. And by incorrectly meaning, don't put a 45 or even a 40, or to some degree even a 9mm in the hands of a brand new shooter and then expect them to walk away with a great time. For a lot of people, they're intimidated by firearms, so it's better off to give them something that is geared towards being more fun than it is practical. And that's why I think this FN502 MRD is the best platform to do it. And when I say do it, meaning convert somebody who is afraid of firearms into becoming more in love with firearms, kind of the way we all are. And here's why. It's a 22, and 22s are just fun.
It's just fun, man.
We're gonna have the best time ever.
Now, I'll be honest, you can use any 22. It doesn't have to be the 502 MRD. I just love the 502 MRD. It's actually one of my favorite 22 handgun platforms because it does such a good job of being a 22 handgun in a way that other 22s don't normally do. Now, for instance, 22s are just light recoiling. So for a lot of people who are scared of firearms, they're scared of the theatrics. They're like, oh, it's loud. It recoils a lot.
Okay, I know you're hearing me wax poetic about how super quiet the 22 is, and it is, but it's still not hearing safe. So I'm happy to inform you guys that my favorite hearing protection are back in stock. The AKT1 Blackouts. I call them the AirPods of the hearing protection world. They have a 25 dB NRR hearing rating protection, 6-time hearing enhancement so you can hear what's going on around you, advanced noise cancellation, ideal for indoor shooting ranges, airplanes, and gyms, Bluetooth connectivity with high fidelity speakers so you can listen to music with high quality sound or take a phone call while you shoot. And they have a 10-hour battery life with an additional 30 hours of charge in the case. They're comfortable and look damn good if you ask me. And since the holidays, they've been sold out, but now they're available again at shop.mrcolionnoir.com. So click the link in the description section and grab a pair because they're gonna sell out pretty fast.
But with 22s, that's not, it's just such an easy gun to shoot. There's not much recoil. How can you not enjoy this? It's just fun. If you start somebody off with a 9mm or 40 or 45 and they're brand new, the intimidation factor goes through the roof because remember, they're only going off of what they know or seen on TV and in movies.
Say hello to my little friend.
And then you put a 9 or a 10 or 40 in their hand, and then they start recoiling and they start to get a little flustered. So instead of enjoying their time shooting, they're too busy trying to manage their fear of the theatrics of the firearm, where the 22 doesn't really do that. I love this gun specifically because it's almost the direct copy of other guns in the lineup in different calibers because the 22 isn't necessarily a defensive round. It's a round that can be used defensively. I think the standard is gonna be 9mm, but because 9mm can be a lot to handle for somebody who's brand new into shooting, a 22 or something like this is perfect because they can start off with the 22 and they can get the mechanics down, as you can see here, without being overly obsessed with recoil management, but still teach them the fundamentals so that when they do upgrade to say a 509, which is a 9mm, it's the exact same. Like the 509 is maybe ever so slightly bigger, but it's literally the same style trigger, same functionality. You have the duality of the slide stop. You have the ability to mount a red dot. You have suppressor height sights. Everything about it is almost exactly the same. So when that person decides, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a gun for self-defense, they're going into the store and they're like, oh, I remember that gun. I remember what it looks like. I remember having a good time with it. They get in there, they buy the gun, and then they realize, oh, I actually do enjoy this shooting experience. And this is actually pretty fun. But now, it's not only just about fun, now it becomes practical. Because now you've had this smooth transition from a gun that's exceedingly easy to shoot to a gun that has a little more stout recoil, but is so familiar with it that it's not intimidating anymore. And so what ends up happening is you have an individual who now says, I had such a good time shooting, I'm gonna go and buy a gun for self-defense. I'm gonna bring it back to what I said at the beginning of the video too.
Bring it on!
This is my favorite 22 handgun platform. Because it is so exact in terms of being like a traditional style polymer firing handgun. Any other 22 could get the job done. However, I think there's something to be said about it looking like and feeling like a real gun. Not saying the other 22s aren't real guns, but the stereotypical idea of what a real gun looks like. Some people would argue, no, the fact that other 22s don't look like traditional handguns makes them less intimidating. And I say maybe, but then again, I think there's something to be said about contrast. Think about it like meeting a celebrity for the first time. Take Peter, for instance. Peter didn't know me from a can of paint, and he probably thought I was a dick.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, maybe I'm not the best example. All right, so
You still are a dick, but it's, you know, not as bad as I thought.
And I'm not exactly a celebrity.
No, you are not.
Now, take an actual celebrity that you may know of who is has a reputation of being a dick. And let's say you're in a position where you could actually meet that person. And then you finally do meet that person and come to find out that person actually is the complete opposite of what you expected. You're gonna have a way higher regard for that person than if you knew a celebrity and you knew that person was just supposed to be awesome and a really nice person, and then you met them and then they met those expectations. You're still gonna like them, but there's just something to be said about you having a preconceived notion about something and then it being the complete opposite in a positive way. That's just gonna leave a longer lasting impression. And I think also too, with something like this 502 MRD, it not only looks like a traditional style handgun, it feels like it. It doesn't feel like something different. So all of those things kind of aggregate and come together for someone who is essentially terrified of firearms or scared of firearms, and then has them progressively escalate to the point where they get into a 9mm or get into a 40 or 45, and then before you know it, they become full-blown gun advocates because now they have something to lose. Because when you don't own a firearm, there's nothing to protect. There's nothing to lose. So it's easy to be anti. But once you get somebody and you start them with happiness and enjoyment, like you come out here and it's like, oh, I remember I went shooting with that one guy, or I went shooting with that one girl, or that one person, whatever you want to call yourself, and I had a great time. Not only did I have a great time, I wanted to do it over and over and over again. Instead of, oh, I went shooting for the very first time, and I mean, it was cool, but it was kind of scary. That's not creating pro 2A people. You're just kind of creating somebody who went and shot before and just kind of went about their lives. The 502 MRD, am I biased as a result? Am I biased when I say that I think it's the best or one of the best 22 handguns for converting anti-gunners to pro-gunners? Yes, from the standpoint that when they released these things, I was at the release of it. I was part of the campaign when they released it. I genuinely love this 22 handgun. This is easily the top one. I have a top 5, which I'll probably do a video on, but this sits at the top of it. So that's why I think the 502 MRD is the best 22 handgun to convert anti-gunners to pro-gunners. Now, what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section.
Right now, shop.mrcolionnoir.com. We just released our new Stanley style water tumblers or coffee tumblers or whatever you want to put in it, because this keeps your cold drinks cold for 24 hours and your hot drinks hot for 12 hours. On top of that, you get your straw, but even better, you can make it leak proof. But the best thing about it is you can actually put any of the designs, the 2A designs that I have at shop.mrcolionnoir.com on your tumbler. So now you have a better looking tumbler with better functionality. And yeah, so head over to shop.mrcolionnoir.com or hit the link in the description section and grab your Pro 2A tumbler today. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.